Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So in this video, we're just going to do another velocity banking review and create financial shockwaves. What does that mean? People will be shocked about how quickly we eliminate debt. And not only that, it's an excuse for me to talk about Marvel Comics, Marvel versus Capcom, put Magneto on the thumbnail. So before we get to the velocity banking review, I'm just going to talk about this for a little bit, but I don't know if you ever played this game, but when I was like age 11 to 15, this was like my jam. This was like my addiction. I would eat, dream, and sleep about this game like every single day. And whenever somebody like just mentioned the words Marvel versus Capcom, my like antenna ears, like my ears would perk up like an antenna. I'm like, where? I want to play. I want to play. And if you ever played this game, there's a move called the magnetic shockwave, right? This is with Magneto right here. And that's what we're going to do with velocity banking. We're going to do a financial shockwave. Like, we're going to pay off debt so quickly, most people can't even imagine. I mean, if you think about this, I was just doing a quick Google search on the average law school salary and student debt, and it says that the average law school graduate has $130,000 of student loan debt and earns about 130, and the average time to repay that law school debt is about 20 to 25 years. 20 to 25 years. So remember that, and then we'll compare this, how long it takes us to pay our law school debt versus the average person, right? And before we get started, we always have the obligatory Chat GPT summary of velocity banking in the tone of Magneto, right? We're going to send not magnetic shockwaves this time, right? Not this time, but we're going to send financial shockwaves. So, can you describe, velocity banking in the voice of Magneto? Magneto, right?
Scene: a dimly lit room. Magneto steps forward, his cape billowing slightly, eyes glowing with intensity as he speaks directly to the audience. Humans cling to their chains, bound by the illusion of freedom that debt creates. Banks, much like the petty rulers of the past, use your ignorance against you. They feed on your labor, siphoning wealth through interest and servitude. But I am here to show you a better way. Velocity banking is not merely a tool, it is a liberation. It transforms the power structure of finance, harnessing your income and expenses to dismantle the system that enslaves you. By wielding a line of credit as a weapon, you pay down principal with ruthless efficiency, reducing interest to mere ashes. You do not beg for scraps, you take control. Imagine the beauty of it. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, all reduced to dust in a fraction of their terms. With discipline and knowledge, you become the master of your financial destiny. The banks will tremble when they see your power unleashed. You are not bound to their rules. You can rise above. Together, we will rewrite what it means to live free from the shackles of debt. Will you join me in this revolution? He extends his hand, magnetic energy crackling around him, daring you to step forward and claim your financial independence.
Wow. I love to see that in a cartoon form, right? Like, he always talks about mutant liberation and then just replace the words mutant liberation with financial liberation. And then instead of like, well, he could still have the magnetism, but he somehow is able to generate money out of thin air as well. That'd be crazy. I'd love to see that. Anyways, yeah. So let's go ahead and get started with velocity banking. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy using a line of credit as your main operating account. So let's assume that we are this law school graduate. Everybody assumes, oh my goodness, lawyers are so rich, right? And yeah, they can be. They can be. But I'm just kind of doing the basic math, like $135,000 salary. That's $7,400 a month. Now let's assume that you got two credit cards, got good credit card debt. What can you afford? Well, if you have a $20,000 auto loan and a $130,000 student loan and $300,000 mortgage and $2,500 living expenses, you don't have that much wiggle room. It's going to be like, whoa, like you're making that good money, but you're not as financially secure as much as you thought. And again, a lot of the reason why, even if we make post $100,000 or above $100,000 salaries, is simply because it's too easy to get into debt, right? It's too easy to get into debt, and so in order for us to do velocity banking, there's just two things that we need to do. Number one is a budget, and we see we've already done this budget right here. And then number two is a line of credit as our main operating account. So what is a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. Credit card fits into this. Home equity line of credit, personal line of credit. Those are great tools to help us command our cash flow and maintain control of our money and still pay off our debt, right? So all we gotta do, okay, is just a couple of things when we do the velocity banking side of the budget. Just remember, okay, income is we're assuming is the same, but we have no savings. So this lawyer right here probably ashamed only to make $300 a month or to only save $300 a month because if you look at mainstream personal finance advice, it's all about saving money. That's how you build your wealth. But really, we're going to focus all of our money into paying off debt. And what we're going to do is assume that we have the same expenses. And then we are going to have something called cash flow. So what does that mean? Like this number is the same as this number. Yes, until we do the final step, of which we're not going to talk about yet. But if we take a look here, right? If we take a look here, the beginning balance is zero and the ending balance is zero, right? How does that work? Because we're putting all of our money into the line of credit. So whatever money you get deposited into the line of credit or into your checking account, it's going to exit your checking account the moment as soon as possible, right? The moment it hits it, you want it to exit your checking account. And so, unlike Dave Ramsey, where he talks about save one, save $1,000, um, we don't got time for that. Let's say that we don't. Was it this one? No, it's this one. So we don't have time to save $1,000. That's going to take us at least about I don't know 3-4 months to do. And who wants to waste 3-4 months when you don't have to, right? But here's the thing: we're going to assume that we have access to a line of credit, and let's say we have access to a huge one, $150,000 a home equity line of credit. A home equity line of credit. So what's a home equity line of credit? All it is the bank is kind of like giving you a credit card and you're putting your home equity as collateral. And let's just assume you have $150,000 or a little bit more than $150,000 of home equity. Now, is that realistic? I don't know. It depends on when you bought your home, right? And it also depends on where you live. You could have been the worst home purchaser and you buy in the right area, you buy the worst house in the right area, you have a ton of equity. That's how real estate works, right? It's about the area. It's not about how nice the home is, which is why a shack in San Francisco will probably cost $1 million, whereas maybe like a mansion in Nebraska will only cost like 400,000 or 500,000 to sell, right? So or to buy, I mean. So let me just show you here an example of a home equity line of credit. So here we are with a screenshot of a home equity line of credit. And you can see here, this is my cell phone. I just literally swipe up and then it tells me that I have access in total of $280,000 and I borrowed about 12 grand and now I have $267,000 I can borrow. So if somebody says like, oh, that's unrealistic to be able to borrow that much, it just depends. You got to know how the credit game works. Now I'm not going to explain how the credit game works in this video, although I explain it in many other videos, but just a quick secret, banks don't lend money to people who need it, so internalize that, and then you'll figure out the credit game, which is how I have over $527,000 in lines of credit. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this, and now the next step is once we have our line of credit, we'll just say $150,000 at 8%, all we got to do is just move some of that debt into the line of credit. So let me go ahead and move these two, which is I think $33,000 of debt, right? 33,000. So let's move that $33,000 of debt, okay? And what happens when we move the high interest credit card cash flow sucking debt? This goes to zero, this goes to zero, and look at this, voila. We were struggling as a lawyer, living paycheck to paycheck, a little bit over $300 a month, and now we got $1,600 of cash flow. Oh my goodness, this is too good. All right, so now let's go ahead and pay off, focus all of our money in paying off this high interest rate debt. So what's the next step? Well, your entire paycheck goes into the line of credit. And so you put this entire $7,400 here, and guess what happens? Two things. Number one, the minimum payment is satisfied, so we don't even take that into account as a payment. And the interest on that is calculated separately, which we're going to do. But the interest also is at its minimum. Okay, it's at its minimum because we're dumping our entire paycheck in. The interest is calculated based on the average daily balance. So what we're going to do is take our expenses out of that line of credit, out of it. We're going to take our expenses out of that line of credit. And then we rinse and repeat over and over again, and that's all it is. So what we do is just do this, G2 plus H2 minus 1655.03, okay? And then what we're going to do is calculate some interest. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, 0.08 divided by 12. And let's go ahead and now, after every single month, we just rinse and repeat the process, right? Paycheck in, expenses out. We pay a little bit of interest, paycheck in, expenses out. All right. And then now, let's see how long it takes. Okay. So let's just go ahead and do that. All right. And now, okay, 22 months. It took us 22 months to pay off these high interest credit cards. So let's applaud ourselves here and then write this down as a milestone. So 22 months to pay off 33K. Okay, so with two huge credit cards. All right. So now, after 22 months, let's figure out how long it took us or what the loan balances are. And let me just go ahead and highlight this. And I'm going to, all right, so whoopsie. I think my computer is kind of, all right, so I think we got this here and we got that here. Okay, cool. All right, so now at 22 months, let's figure out what the balance of all of these loans are, right? And if you take a look here, we have this 13 grand, right? And so this is what I'm going to do, okay? So you notice that this is an 8.1% interest loan, right? 8.1%. It's perfectly safe to move this entire student loan into a lower interest rate line of credit. Like the line of credit interest rate is 8%. This is an 8.1% loan. So I'm perfectly fine moving this whole thing in regardless of this cash flow index. But here you see here, even though it's a lower interest rate, because if we immediately pay off, we're going to get a lot of cash flow. I think we can just move these two loans into the line of credit, which should be perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and do this and sum it up. So let me go ahead and sum it up, which is G2 plus G3, right? So that's 126,763.62. And then we just rinse and repeat the process again, right? So let me go ahead and do this plus 126 763 point, I think 62. I got to round up, I think. All right. So we moved, okay, two debts into that line of credit. We moved two debts into that line of credit. So this, guess what now? This goes to zero. This goes to zero, right? Now our cash flow's 3 grand. Holy moly. Holy bazookas. Holy Dylan, you son of a. Do you know where that is from? All right, so let's go ahead and do this. It's a shame what that dude become. He's like, screw your freedom. I'm like, oh geez, 3635.19. Okay, 3635.19 is our new cash flow, and now all we gotta do is just you know copy and paste and see how long it takes for us to pay off both the auto loan and the student loan. Okay, so the auto loan and the student loan, and so now in our quest to pay off the auto loan and the student loan. So this isn't going to be totally accurate because obviously some of the auto loan is still here, but let's see here. How much is still in the auto loan? It's about 13 grand. So how much is 13 grand paid off? Probably, what's 125 plus minus 13? So equals 125 minus 13 is 112. So it takes us about 1, 2, 3, 4 months, or up to here 27 months to pay off the auto loan. And then, so 27 to 62. So what's 62 minus 27? Okay, that's 35 months. So it took us 35 months to pay off the student loan. Okay, so let me just do some quick math. 35 months divided by 12. That's 3 years. Oh my goodness. This is a financial shockwave. I can't believe it. The average time to repay a law school debt is 20 to 25 years, and we did it in 3 or less than 3, 2 years, and I think whatever 2.9 is, right? So 2.9, I think that's oh man, I can't even do math. I honestly think that's like 9 months, but I might be wrong. Okay, so no, it's probably a little bit. No, that's actually wrong. But who cares? It's under 3 years. Okay, under 3 years. That's a financial magnetic shockwave, right? Bam, bam. Like this is like so. It's crazy how people expect to go to law school and they think just making a six-figure salary is all there is, and they take literally 20 to 25 years to pay the sucker off, right? We did it in 3 years. Oh my goodness. So now let's just go ahead and write this down. So in 62 months, right? We paid off. So that's an additional 150. So that's 183, right? On 183K, okay? And now we got the mortgage. Okay, so now we got the mortgage. And so should we put this mortgage into a line of credit? Short answer, probably not, because again, the reason why we're comfortable with putting this 130 grand into the line of credit just because the interest rate is actually higher. And if you kind of just do the math and do some tests, and I didn't go over it too much here, you'll see that hey, it does work out. But moving a 3% interest loan into a line of credit, I would say that's a no bueno. Okay, so let's take a look. 61 months, and what's the balance of the loan? It's $266,000, and then you can see right here that our cash flow index is 210. Just be aware that usually anything above 50 is something that, I'm sorry, above 100 is something that we don't try to pay off or move into a line of credit. But here's the thing that we have to be aware of high cash flow index loans. We pay a ton of interest, right? A $300,000, 3% 30-year mortgage after 30 years is 50% interest. So if you want to pay 50% interest on a loan, yeah, just make the 30-year payments as is. But what we want to do is just pay it off and help us use the help of a line of credit to pay it off, right? So let's just do this quick calculation right now. 300 minus 266. So about $34,000 of the principal has been paid off so far. 34,000. Actually, let me make this a little big. Oh, is it big enough? Okay. So $34,000 of the principal. Okay. So now if we just move this $34,000 of the principal right here, how long does it take for us to pay it off? Right? So let's just move 34,000. Okay. Now cash flow is still the same, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so if you take a look here, right, it took us 61 months to pay off 34,000, and we're able to do it in 10 months. And if we do the actual interest calculations, we save a ton of interest. Okay, so not only do we have control of our money, we're able to make it easier for us to pay off the debt. It's so easy that when I first did it, I was like, whoa, it's so simple, and you don't have to overthink, right? That's the beauty of it. But the most important thing we have to understand is that we don't move the whole thing into a line of credit, and we pay off the mortgage last. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up this velocity banking calculator that we have to see how long it takes us to pay off this mortgage. So give me 1 second. All right, we got the velocity banking calculator up and running. I'll take a look at this, just put all these details in, and we paid it off in under 5 years. Whoa, that's pretty quick, right? So again, if you don't know where this is from, I got it from Renatus. This is where I originally learned velocity banking from. And just full disclosure, this whole channel is just a sales funnel to me selling Renatus products, right? And I get a commission off of it because I'm an independent contracted marketer. But this is where I learned it from, right? And if you pay for it, you can get this calculator too. So if you take a look here, Okay, you take a look here. This is 5 years, right? 5 years paid off. But the thing that I'm warning you about is not to replace your entire mortgage with the line of credit, especially if there's a huge interest rate difference. Because take a look at this, it's going to take us 5.7 years, and we pay 66 grand of interest, whereas if we just do it in little chunks, we only pay 21 grand of interest, right? 21 grand, 5 years. Okay. Now let's just go ahead and do this. So 62 divided by 12 plus 5. That's 10.17 years to be debt free. Debt free. And we're kind of living modestly, right? $300,000 loan on a house. That's not like a really fancy house and a $20,000 car, okay? So, and a $130,000 student loan. If you can get if you can get the salary without that student loan, oh my goodness, the sky is the limit, right? Sky's the limit. And now we have what we call maximum cash flow, $4,900 every single month in our bank account, in our savings. And this is when the savings does not go to zero anymore, right? It does not go to zero anymore. Now let's end with this, okay? So, um, can you describe how Magneto would feel after doing a velocity banking demonstration for the masses and showing how to pay off a 130K law school debt in 2.9 years, right? Um, so let's, or can you describe what, let's see, what Magneto would say? Let's see what ChatGPT says. Ooh.
Magneto stands atop a grand stage before a stunned crowd, the massive screen behind him flashing with graphs and numbers. The final line reads, Debt paid, $130,000 in 2.9 years. He looks out over the crowd, his voice filled with conviction and triumph. Behold, the chains you thought unbreakable, shattered. $130,000 burden designed to hold its victim in servitude for decades, eradicated in less than 3. Not by the mercy of banks, but by understanding, strategy, and the wielding of financial power that lies dormant in all of you. You have seen the proof before your very eyes. The system that was crafted to keep you subjugated is fragile, its weakness exposed. It thrives only when you remain ignorant, obedient. But when armed with knowledge, you take control. You dictate the terms. You bend the financial currents to your will. And yet, there will be those who hesitate, who cling to their fears, convinced that freedom is a lie. To them I say this: no more excuses. You've seen the path. The only question left is whether you have the will to walk it. He takes a step forward, voice rising, magnetic energy swirling around him, a visible reminder of his raw power and belief. Do not let them trap you in their labyrinth of interest and payments. Rise above their design. If one person can obliterate 6 figures of debt in under 3 years, imagine what you could achieve with courage and determination. Stand with me, and together we will dismantle the financial oppression that has ruled for far too long. He raises his arms, the crowd erupting into applause and cheers, emboldened by his demonstration of financial rebellion.
Beautiful, beautiful. And once I get my copy or physical copy of this game for my Nintendo Switch, which is going to release on November, like I think next Friday, I'm gonna be playing it and see how good I get. I've been playing it on the PC, and I've been playing as Magneto, as a master of magnetism. Um, and this gets me really excited to know that the master of magnetism understands the power before your very eyes and how the system keeps you down, right? Oh my goodness. Again, average law school debt 20 to 25 years, and we did it, this one, in under 3. I I can't believe it. Can you? Is anybody here a lawyer in in the YouTube comments, like, is anybody here a lawyer? How long did it take you to pay off your debt, or are you still paying it off? Did you do this the student based, income based repayment program? Because I know a couple people who did that, and I don't. I'll be honest. I don't know. Like being a lawyer, I don't understand how you can afford to live. You know what I mean? With $130,000 of debt to get to be able to go through law school is crazy. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for today. So hopefully this inspires you to go against the humans. I mean, financial system and be able to obliterate your debt. No more financial, not mutant, financial oppression, right? Okay, well, this is Crane Atlanta Mentorship. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll speak next time.